Long ago, in the faraway kingdom of Quadgraphica, there lived a king and queen. They ruled the kingdom of Quadgraphica with the king's logic and the queen's compassion. And as things go in these types of story, the happy couple eventually had twin sons named Xavier and Yelton. Now, as we all know, kings and queens rule kingdoms wonderfully. But their mommy and daddy skills, not so good. In fact, their own group of wise women and men who the king and queen consulted often about the ways of the kingdom were also annoyed by Xavier and Yelton's lack of discipline. It got so bad that the king and queen were forced to take action. It was time to give the boys responsibility for the upkeep of the castle. You see, the castle of Quadgraphica had heating and cooling problems. One part of the castle was always hot. One part was mostly cold and sometimes hot. One part was always cold. And one part was mostly hot and sometimes cold. The area that was always hot was called Quadrant 1. The area that was mostly cold and sometimes hot was called Quadrant 2. The area that was always cold was called Quadrant 3. The area that was mostly hot and sometimes cold was called Quadrant 4. The princes were given the job of testing the temperature of the castle. The king and the queen gave them daily assignments about where to meet. The first assignment was to go to +4 and +2. The king required that Prince Xavier always went first, and Xavier found the 4th pillar on the west side of the 0 place. The queen required that Yelton always go with Xavier so they wouldn't get lost. Prince Yelton always went second, so he found the 2nd pillar to the north of the 0 place. He eyeballed the pillar and marched 2 places until he lined up with the 2nd pillar. The queen required that Xavier always go with Yelton so they wouldn't get lost. Together, they found that they were in the part of the castle that was always hot, and that they were in Quadrant 1. Xavier and Yelton marked the spot with a stone and wrote their assignments on the floor with chalk, so the king and queen would know when they completed their assignment. And to this day, math students from all over the world have learned how to find the points of a 4-quadrant graph because of the king's wisdom and the queen's compassion, and Xavier and Yelton's mischievous ways.